Mark Zemansky, welcome back to Solopreneur Chats.
Matt, it's always a pleasure. I'm running out of things to say when you introduce me, so thank you for having me.
I saw, because you accused me of not watching any of your content the last time we recorded. I promise today won't be a WordPress rant as it was last time. You're launching a second channel. Who, what, why, when, where, how?
It's a lot of W questions. It's launched. So when is now, as of a couple days ago. It's called Mark Szymanski 2 is the current channel name because I lack originality and I often overthink things into oblivion, so that's unnecessary.
The goal of this channel is what? Is just like you freestyling? Like these are just Mark's brain dump. We talked about that on the last episode, right? Like you want to do brain dumps because it's healthy for you, feels good, it's attention, but you also don't want to like do that on your, business channel.
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to do it. Don't get me wrong, on the main channel. I would love to exist in a world where I could just have a personal brand, talk about whatever I want and make all the money in the world and everybody would love me. But I don't see that actually play out anywhere. I don't see that playing out anywhere. And I am just now realizing that it took me a long time, but I, from probably advice from you, from, other YouTubers, Christian Taylor, I talk to all the time. Like, I mean, there's just, it doesn't make sense. You can't segment your audience so heavily and be talking about WordPress stuff one day and then talking about your studio and shit the other day. You really need, in this day and age, you need to become like Mark Szymanski, the XYZ guy, or something close to that if you really want to have that powerful personal brand. It doesn't need to be that defined, but it needs to be like much more like, oh, Mark, he does this stuff. And I've just never really felt like that. I've never put any effort into trying to, it's happened, but I haven't put any direct effort into saying like, this is what I do and this is for who and how I do it. So I'm going to do that because I have to. I'm going to do that on the main channel. Right now, if you go to the main channel, it says, I help entrepreneurs and agencies build smarter businesses with WordPress, AI, and automation. So that's definitely close. That's at least in the right direction. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's in the right direction. So a simple analysis is, if I'm going to produce content and go on that channel, it needs to help those people do that. And anything else, I still feel like I need to talk about it because I'm just me, but probably a little lower production value or lower production effort, and that'll go on the other channel. And if you want to follow that channel and you want to follow me and the things that are going around in my head, go over there. But I'm not the first person to do this by any means.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up Marquez a lot, MKBHD, his YouTube channel, and obviously he covers a lot of tech, but he does that auto review channel too, where he looks at cars and stuff, and he just like shoots that with an iPhone, which is like like himself holding an iPhone and shooting that whole channel with that, which is like just a testament to I don't know, like not everything has to be so like highly produced. And I think once you get to a certain point with your main channel, like obviously he like on his main tech channel, and I'm sure he has still, like if you cover Tesla or something like that, oh, Tesla's got a new whatever AI thing in their dashboard, you could do whatever, or any other manufacturer. Like, yeah, he could cover that on the that tech channel, but he couldn't like repeat like, okay, now I'm going to cover whatever Hyundai, whatever General Motors does, like whatever these brands are doing. And then it just becomes like, well, start a car channel, and that's what he does. And he does it in a way which is like, I assume he's thinking in the back of his head, well, eventually there's going to be a team behind this. But even a guy like him is like, screw it. This iPhone and wireless mic and me just walking around a car is good enough for this second channel for now. So yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not nearly at that level, but I just feel like that's my personality kind of. And I guess the other bigger thing is like I'm trying to actually adopt the idea of like actually caring about not like I don't care about my audience, but like being a little bit more direct and caring about the fact that there's probably people that don't want to watch You just look at the analytics. There's people that don't want to watch the studio update thing or the, the event content that I put out or whatever. They just don't care. And it's understandable because a lot of the people, especially in our space, they are literally, their number one goal is to learn technology so they could utilize it better to either make money for their employer or their clients or themselves or whatever. And when you're not doing that and you're not providing that value to that people at a consistent rate, you'll have growth. Like I've had growth, but it hasn't been sustainable, like I wouldn't say, because it's just all over the place. So I think this is a good move. I'm a little bit in the entropy chaos phase of like kind of rebranding the agency thing, rebranding this whole situation. But I think just doing all the, first of all, I actually do love doing this part. I don't know what that says about me. I haven't figured that out yet, but I love this part of this. We're setting things up and kind of, putting some pieces together. But on the other side of it, I think it's going to be great. I'm going to know where things are going to go. I'm not going to say I'm going to have more challenges after, but I'm going to know where things are going to go. And I can actually focus on like, hey, this audience is for this reason. This audience is for whatever else reason. I have my agency stuff that I'm still doing and there's clients for that. And then as I continue to build teams around it as well and other people, I could be way more clear with them as to what I'm trying to achieve in any given area. So yeah.
So how does the content focus change for the business channel? Like what's your plan now? Like we know part 2 will just, be those life updates, studio updates, whatever you want to talk about. What happens on the primary channel?
It's probably going to be like specifically educating and bringing people into the fold with mainly WordPress, because I don't see myself moving from a different website platform tool. But it's going to be like with a heavy, I would say, if I had to, I haven't consulted my primary consultant ChatGPT enough on this yet, but I would say that pretty much every video that you see on there is going to have some level of like, this is how I did this or how I would do this to create some sort of value. Like either I think there's so many people now that are like using this idea of, whether you like it or hate it, they're using the idea of like tying money back into the content and the technical stuff to entice people to watch, right? And I think that there's going to be like one of the videos.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
One of the things, well, I don't want to go to Greg Eisenberg level because I don't want to have you never talk to me again. But one of the videos that I made, I'm not talking make shit up. I'm saying one of the videos that I recently made was like, this the framing of the video, the packaging of the video. I made $170,000 with this infrastructure set up for websites. That is true. I have made that much. I didn't make that in one setting. I made that over a career of doing it this way. So just like injecting in little things of slightly more intrigue so that people will get them to click. I mean, this is the YouTube game in a sense, as long as you're not being, a lying asshole about it. But I think injecting a little bit more of that in there, I think could definitely be huge because in the grand scheme of things, I'm still a nobody. And if you show up on the algorithm, you would like people to be able to click on the thing. So it needs to be somewhat click worthy. But again, there's a fine line between packaging things so people click on it and being a complete sleazeball in the way that you're producing the content. So yeah, it's not fully fleshed out, but that's kind of the high level.
Do you feel like a certain weight for doing that? Like if you were to run a typical blueprint for making a YouTube channel, I mean, a lot of the advice is starting with the thumbnail, which is what I absolutely hate because I like to start with the freaking thing that excites me most, which is whatever piece of content that I'm making. Like I'm making this content because I like it. And then on the outside, okay, I will try things like a title, which by the way, now you have A/B testing YouTube titles, which I did yesterday, which is not helping the rankings of my latest video on the bigger channel. And then working on the thumbnail. I don't like the game of the Greg Eisenberg, which is $300,000 with this no-code app that I made on a Saturday afternoon, because it just forces you to like want to do that over and over again. Like if you get hooked on that drug, for lack of a better phrase. So do you have weight? Like, does that come with weight to you when you think about it?
I think there's a couple things in there, and the fact that well, let's start here. I've never done it that way. I've never thought, oh, this would be a really good title or a really good thumbnail concept. I want to make a video about that. Nah, it's normally like the way that stuff happens now is I solve some sort of like niche problem, or maybe I didn't solve it at the very first person, but like I found a way to do something on like a client project, right? Like the law firm project that I just did, like couple things in there I'd really like to document, because I know that they helped me thinking through something or whatever. And I know there's other freelancers and agency owners that would benefit from that. So that's normally where the ideas come from, which is why I don't ever really want to move, at least for the foreseeable future, move away from those things, because that's where the ideation part really does stem from. So that's the first thing. The second thing, though, is like, I just mentioned how I didn't want this to have to happen. I didn't want it to have to come to this where I would split my channel up and do these different things or whatever. But me doing it is kind of playing the game to a degree. And I think becoming the person where you have to like, you care a little bit more about your packaging, or you want to play that type of game, is also playing the game. So I think that the question, I'm not saying you, Matt, but like the question that anybody would have to ask themselves is, am I okay with playing the game within the context of my ethics, right? I'm not saying don't do things that are immoral. Am I okay with playing the game in the context of my ethics to succeed? Like, is it worth it to me to do that in order to have a more vibrant YouTube channel or have more of a following on YouTube, or et cetera? Because from this limited experience that I have, the alternative is do not play the game. Try to go against the grain. But in order to have success going against the grain, you have to go so far against the grain that you almost are creating a new game. Like you're creating your own innovative way of handling YouTube. And at least for me, I wasn't there. I was in no man's land. I was in the middle, which is a common theme apparently in my life. I don't know if it was you or me, or we were talking about it last time. I can't remember. Like being in the middle is absolutely, I don't know, it's a tough spot to be in any context. So that's kind of the way I would see that.
I wouldn't throw you in the middle of like YouTubers, because I think well, there's a pretty big gap between like people that have put up, I don't know what the stat is, but I'm sure there's like some stats if you search for it, like how many people have put up hundreds and hundreds of videos and not even broken 1,000 subscribers. Whereas I think your main channel is what, like 6, 7, 8,000 subscribers, something like that.
Almost 6.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really, when you look at the broader landscape, yeah, it's like even me with whatever, almost 20 on the bigger YouTube channel. Yeah, it's pale in comparison of like a lot of other people, but I think that we're further ahead than most people who have spent a lot of time doing it. So, I wouldn't put yourself down.
Well, no, I mean it's not even really that. It's just if people have put in 1,000, 10,000 hours or whatever they say, and they haven't gotten the thing, it's like I'm a believer that if I try something, for 10,000 hours and all that, and I haven't gotten to where I feel like I should be, it's like maybe this just isn't for me, and that's a whole topic in and of itself. But the thing is, for me, the thing that I'm struggling with right now is that I know that YouTube is for me. The first video that I put up on that second channel is a 45-minute video talking about all this and like logging depth and kind of going on a couple tangents. And it's like I'm a good communicator. I'm a deep thinker. I have all of these nuanced opinions on things and can see the nuance and all these sort of stuff. So I know that it's where I need to be. It's just in order to build something great like that, it just takes time. But at the same time, you don't know if you're going to get there. So it's just like it goes back to the whole journey thing. You just have to appreciate like kind of what you're doing and not really worry about, just have faith and work hard at it. But I don't know, getting a little philosophical there.
How does, so is your primary channel it's going to rebrand to Motive 11?
No, it's going to just be Mark Szymanski.
But are you going to try to funnel that traffic to?
Oh, I see. So here's where the real rubber meets the road. And it would be a really cool concept, possibly for a second channel idea, to like go look at other examples. Now I have this tough thing because I look at these larger channels that are, 50, 100, few 100,000 subscribers or whatever, and I see what are they doing? Like I did this with James Smith. Obviously, you look at the big ones like Alex Hormozy, Nick Sarayev. Like, what do these people do? How did they structure this stuff? What is the content? And then not just what the content is on YouTube, right? But then where is the call to action? I don't know if anybody's ever known this. I have sold things to people, but I've like literally never asked people. Like I have it's not even aversion. It's just like, I just don't do it. I don't fucking funnel anyone anywhere. Like it's so weird. So I need to do that. So then the question becomes, okay, well, what are you trying to sell them? Are you trying to sell them the service that Motive 11 is going to offer? Are you trying to sell them courses or consulting or whatever? And that's a slightly difficult part. But ultimately, I want to be a person that is known for, again, right now, somebody that helps entrepreneurs and agency owners build smarter businesses with AI, WordPress, and automation. So I'm going to put that information out there, and I'm going to say it's pretty much going to become, I feel like, a DIY, DFY, DWY thing. It's like, hey, I got a lot of knowledge on this. If you want to be like me, then here's maybe a DIY thing. If you want to do it yourself or do it with me or whatever, kind of like a done with me thing, and we could talk about consulting. And if you want it done for you, Motive 11 is right here. Me and my team will take care of that for you. I think that's the most straightforward way to do this. And again, I've seen many other people do it that way. It's just being super consistent in that messaging and letting people know that no matter who they are, the problem with this stuff is that because, especially the AI and the automation stuff, everyone's fucking interested in it. So if you put out good content in that space with that topic, you're not just going to get agency owners. I know to this point, because we talk about WordPress, we get a lot of people that are like agency owners. Maybe we get some DIYers here and there and stuff. But if you put out content that starts to jump into that, like outside the WordPress bubble too, even if it's combined, I guarantee you that what's going to happen to me, and again, I see it with guys like Nick Sarayev, it's not just people that want to be automators, right? Like people that want to do that stuff. It's also kind of layperson sometimes, or like random people that are just like, hey, maybe I should just pay somebody to do this, or like a business owner that stumbles across something. Maybe I should just pay this guy to do this. He obviously knows. And by this guy, it would ultimately be, in my case, Motive 11. The whole point of this is I'm not making anything new here. I'm just looking at what other people are doing, and I've never done it this way. I've just kind of like randomly thrown things on there without a little bit of a direction, because I felt like that was my identity, or part of my identity was that YouTube channel. But now all I have to do is just throw a second channel up there. And if you want to go watch that, then you go watch that. And I don't care if anybody watches that, because it's more of a creative outlet that I know will also grow, because I've already established those types of relationships with people, and people do like me and want to hear what I have to say on those topics. But I need to keep them separate to appease the YouTube gods, is one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've struggled with for, I don't know, 17, 18 years at this point, of like where content goes. And I have three primary, channels. I have the WP Minute, which is the tutorials, again, just shy of 20,000, but that's WordPress tutorials. So it's like, let me show you how to do this thing with WordPress, and of course, like some AI stuff naturally. We have this channel, which is like where this was set up more technically for YouTube podcasts, right? Because Google killed off Google Podcasts from like an infrastructure level, and they moved everything to YouTube. And therefore, like if you wanted to be found for how Google handles podcasts, you had to have it on a YouTube channel. And there ain't no way I was going to put, 45-minute, hour-long audio interviews on the main channel, because I did not want that to ruin, the average 8 to 20-minute video that I did as a tutorial, because I just knew I was that, like, the algorithm was going to bastardize the rest of the content, and I just didn't want that. So that's why WP Minute podcast channel, this channel exists. I don't want to say it's a dumping ground, but it's a place to put the long form conversations that I have, and that others at the WP Minute have, away from that. And then I have the Legacy Matt Report, which a lot of, solo stuff that I do with the Matt Report, which again is that more creative outlet, sort of like what you're doing with, to a degree, with your channel too. And yeah, it's always been one of those things. I think I put out a survey to my newsletter, and somebody was just like, oh yeah, it's so hard to just keep up with like everything that you do because it's like all over the place. Well, I mean, this is the internet, right? Like trying to appease everybody. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's air quotes all over the place, but I don't know, like, just like you, if there's somebody on YouTube that I follow and I know they have again, Marquez, we always use him as an example. Like, I follow both of his channels. I don't follow his podcast channel. I know he's got a podcast channel. He's probably got others, Linus Tech Tips. I mean, they have like 15, 20 different channels of different things that they cover, from home entertainment to PC building to networking, like all this other stuff. But if I'm interested, I just follow. I don't complain that there's like another follow button, and I think it's weird that people do complain when there's just like, oh, I don't know where it goes, all over the place. It's like, well, if you really want to listen, you simply follow I'm giving you the option. You can follow just the tutorial stuff, or you can follow the tutorial stuff and this like community conversation stuff that we're having. I'm not forcing it on you, which is, I think, the benefit.
I think there's a couple of points there. The first one is, even though we're not at millions of subscribers, there's something to be said that if the people with millions of subscribers are doing something, a la, in this case, having multiple channels for multiple different segments of their total audience, there's probably some credence to that. So I'm finally to this point now where oh, nice, I've been awakened. Awesome. The other thing is that, yeah, I hear you on the whole, like, the kind of the complaining thing sort of from like audience members. The only thing I would say there is that the thing that we overlook, this is just like being in WordPress and being in this bubble. We do not understand that the vast majority of people do not understand how any of this shit works. And they really don't, like, it's not that they don't care. It's that they're doing something else. Like, maybe they have a job in WordPress and they don't create content. Like, as soon as I started getting into content, specifically you bringing me on the show and stuff like that, and I started learning about everyone, you so quickly, I feel, fall into the bubble of being a content creator. And then it's helpful and it's hurtful, because now I sometimes feel that I lose touch with the audience in a way of like emphasizing with like kind of what you were expressing there. How do they know where to find me? How do they know where my new shit is? Like, okay, I'll try to post it on different platforms and all that sort of stuff. Great. That's helpful. But like, we spend so much time, at least I do, so much time and energy thinking about it, chat GPTing the best layouts and all this framework stuff of like how we lay it all out. And these people are following like 20, 30 people. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even understand. And it's not, this isn't a dig at them. This is the reality of the situation. They don't understand what it takes to make a powerful brand, a powerful personal brand. Maybe they're doing it on their own for their own thing, but if they're not in content, it's like a whole separate thing that a content, like a non-content creator mind doesn't comprehend, just because they haven't done it. They haven't needed to do it. They haven't had to create that. And it's difficult, because then we just have to be the educators of, in that case, it's like, okay, well, hey, what do you, let's break it down. Let's break it down. What do you want to see? What do you want to see out of me? You want to see everything? Well, here, boom, boom, boom. Click the subscribe button 3 times and it'll be on your thing, assuming YouTube doesn't fuck it up. And if you don't want to see the long form stuff, if you don't want to see these long form, don't click that button. Just click this one over here. You want to see tutorials only? Just click that button. And that is the power, because if you don't do, if you're still living in the dark ages like me, apparently, and putting everything on one thing, now I have videos that are like getting 5,000 views because they're about whatever the algorithm's picking up and people are interested in them. And then I have videos that are like 200 views because they're about me at a WordCamp or something. Both honestly decent types of content, but I would just rather, I think the thing ultimately that I'm kind of trying to optimize for is like, if I have this number of subscribers, I just want those number of subscribers to be here for the right reason. And by that, I mean me putting the right things in front of them. I don't want to, I could still have this totalitarian, whatever word, like this total audience and ecosystem of people, but it's totally fine if it's at different places, because I'm still the common the common thread in all of it. And if they really need me for some reason, they can reach out to me and I can find a way to help them if it's in my ecosystem of stuff. So I feel like I'm evolving in that case. It's going to take time, obviously, to continue to put it all together, but I feel like I'm on a slightly better track than I was, even as recently as 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's since I started getting to watches at the start of the year, horology, as it's known in the collector space. I follow a bunch of like watch guys, and there's this one guy that I follow, and it's funny we're having this conversation today because I was watching something on YouTube this morning, and like one of the recommended videos, I saw him, and it was like the title was "Should You Quit Your Job?" And I was like, why is this guy talking about this? Like, I don't even. And then I looked at the channel name, and he has a whole different channel about like career stuff.
I bet you he did. I bet you. Hang on, real quick, micro point. Did he collab on that video?
That's a good question.
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Because Hormozy just did that. So I follow his main channel. This is a meta point that maybe people don't care about, but I follow his main channel, and he made a new channel, Hormozy Highlights. So then, like the video that like Hormozy Highlight collabed. Like they posted a video on the Hormozy Highlight one. They collabed with his main channel, so I saw that video. So it's like a really weird in my subscription thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like now if you, and so this happens with us now too, like because we're collaborating on things, even though people might not be subscribed to me, if you're collabed in the video, they're going to see that in their subscription feed. So again, not meta point, maybe creators care more about it, but you were saying about the watch guy. Maybe he did that, or what was the main point? I cut you off. Yeah,
no, I mean, it's just interesting. Like I think this is a common thing, right? Like if you're creating content, again, I always have to say like specifically with YouTube, because we're like everything you've said so far is largely because YouTube, right? Like you're probably not like siloing content on social under your personal name. I mean, maybe you will eventually, but like I feel like YouTube really pushes the algorithm and our expectations as creators to be like, I have to segment this. I have to hit that collab button so that like the algorithm picks up on it. I have to make a separate channel because I don't want long form audio content being mixed in with 8-minute videos. You know, this channel is what we're airing. This is like the only channel I do shorts on because I've seen a ton of advice of people saying don't do shorts because it disintegrates the rest of your traffic if you have longer form videos. So like it's, I don't know of any other platform where people optimize as much as you and I do, but I also don't spend a lot of time creating on other platforms other than, of course, now with Opus, like sending stuff to Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But I actively don't engage in those areas or create unique content. So I don't know. YouTube really changes the way I think a lot of us think about content creation, and I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it's.
I think well, it's probably all bad to a degree because like it's all just a big fucking game, and it's really exhausting until you just realize you're like, hey, listen, what is your goal? Is your goal my goal? I'm thinking of it literally on the spot right now. My goal is to make $30,000 per month in revenue across the different things that I'm doing while not being what I would classify as a sleazeball piece of shit. I'm not saying specifically anybody in that. I just mean like let me rephrase it. Make $30K a month without hating myself. It's really that simple. Okay. So like whatever I can do that is pushing me or moving me forward or putting together a framework that will get me there and move me in that direction. That is what I'm trying to do. I do not care about I care about the opinions of others. I take them into consideration, but I think you commented on one of the comments on my videos, like, hey, I'm just not going to follow you anymore because you're distracted and you just do the thing that works. And it's like, I mentioned in my video on the second channel, it's like, I cannot even express how grateful I am that I am able to get comments like that people care enough to watch my shit and then even leave me feedback like that. Some people get offended. I don't get offended. I get offended for a second. And I'm like, okay, thank you for the feedback. Seriously. When I see that though, it's like, I am literally doing that. I'm trying to figure out what is working. Okay, maybe I'm like pivoting, but I thought everybody likes to move fast, break things, do all this crazy shit. It's like, and this move specifically, out of all the crazy shit that I've done, this one makes the most sense from like data, like a data side on like a larger scale. So, that's literally what this whole game is. It's constantly trying stuff for yourself, but also like looking ahead at what other people are doing. You mentioned like breaking it up on social too. Like that's a whole nother can of worms because some people do that, some people don't. Real quick fun fact. When I first started all of this, years before like the WordPress stuff, I was like, well, I have like a personal Instagram that I've had since, like I was in, grade school or whatever, right? And I was like, I'm going to create a second Mark Szymanski Instagram from my professional Instagram, which is ultimately my Instagram now. But my point is, even back then, it was like, oh, I need to segment my family audience from my professional audience. At the time, actually a good idea. What I learned though is you do not have if you do this, you don't have a personal anymore. Like you almost don't, because I have too many other things that are going on that like it would be almost impossible to also like post and care about like personal shit within there. Now, I'm not saying everybody's gonna be exactly the same, and I'm off on a tangent a little bit here, but it's just like the whole audience segmentation thing does make sense when you really step back and think about it, because if people are subscribing to you, they're not really subscribing to you. They're subscribing to a specific type of content that they've been seeing from you. And then if you put different shit in front of them, no wonder they're not going to watch.
I wonder if by segmenting this content, what you really want to do is focus on making more money with your content.
That's definitely part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm just wondering like how you think about that. Like as you sort of make this shift, like will you make content? You mentioned call to action. Obviously we're talking about like segmenting and siloing content to a particular audience. Like I'm just curious how you close the loop on that, or how you're starting to think about closing the loop on that, so we can follow up with that in a future episode. Like if I'm making a video, and this is what you and I have been talking about the last few episodes, like all this competing and shit with YouTube and the algorithms and social, that's why I'm like, I feel like just going back to traditional media and traditional outreach, because if I'm going to spend time making content that like loosely solves somebody's problem or like covers the WordPress community, like none of that stuff ultimately brings money into the organization. Then I want to shift gears and like, I'm going to make a video. Like, what would it be like if I made content that just lured advertisers or sponsors into the WP Minute? Obviously, that wouldn't work because of my business model. But if I was selling professional services, if all of the content that I made brought it back into that, then like where would my like what would that look like at the end of the day? Would I have more business? And I'm just curious like how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a couple pieces. I mean, it's like the thing that I'm still kind of struggling with, but I'm shaking off because I know that it's not really a big concern, is that I do need to sell things through this content that I make, but I ultimately what I need to do is I need to provide, like, I was going to say provide value as you were talking, but then I thought, you in your like mind, things you've talked about, you provide value, like we provide value. I've provided value on my channel. Like I think capturing, a vlog at a WordCamp is valuable, very subjectively. But here's the thing. We have to be much more strict with the definition of valuable, because is it valuable? Is it like entertainment? That's pretty much entertainment. Maybe there's a little bit of education like built in, like a vlog about WordCamp. It's definitely not, though. What they're not getting out of that is any sort of tangible skill or thought or anything that they could turn into value for themselves. And I think that is
You're talking about the audience in that case.
Exactly. Yeah. The audience. Yeah. So it's like, to me, I can't do that anymore. I need to have a place for that value-ish content, because I just want to put it out there, and I have it's again, less production maybe, and less things that I really like. I'm trying to monetize, so to speak, or whatever, or not even directly monetize, but you get the idea. But then on this channel, it needs to be much more like, hey, listen, we're both going to make money from this content in a way, in a certain way. I don't want to keep bringing it back to money, but it is just the way that it is. Like, it's every single one of these things. They either talk about money or they're like subliminally money is flown through it, because that is what so many people that watch this type of content care about. We are dealing mostly with business owners that want to be like us or business owners that want to buy from us. We're not dealing with an employee that comes home and watches something to veg out, like a fucking Mr. Beast video or some shit. And I don't know why I thought that before, or maybe I didn't think it exactly like that, but that's totally different audiences. I mean, we're in the maybe edutainment, but mostly education content space. And education ultimately ends up meaning money too at the end of the day, because people learn things ultimately a lot of times to make money. Not all the time, but a lot of time. And I think that is the thing that I have not fully grasped. And quite frankly, I'm going to be honest, I just never wanted to be like a pro YouTuber, really. I wanted to be a guy that films videos and puts them on the internet, and that's it. And I'm still going to do that on the other channel. But on this channel, I got to care more about it. It's really that simple. I have to care a little bit more. I have to put a little bit more thought into it. Because if I don't, then it's a waste. Honestly, this is stretching a little bit, but if you're being really direct with yourself, it's a fucking waste of time. Like, if I'm, again, personal, moving into the next era of my life here, if I'm not making money from most of the things that I'm doing, they're probably wastes of time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah. And I think like those degrees of like what makes a YouTube creator this is why I while I leverage YouTube like we're doing right now, like I also am strongly against it in the sense of like ownership and definition, because like I don't want them to own what podcasting means, because to be a YouTube creator is somebody who, when you look, like when you put the ones on the mantle or whatever and you're like evaluating them, these are people who are running largely entertainment businesses. Like the ones that really get celebrated are the ones that are running like an entertainment business, which takes like the whole thing, the whole like I do this passionately, and just turns it into a business, right? So like I grew up in YouTube watching like Casey Neistat. I don't even know if does he even put videos out anymore, but this was just like a guy like living in New York, like making really cool short form, what I would call films, or at least like that vlog style of like really behind the scenes kind of thing. But he was a great storyteller and a great videographer. And now it's just like, it becomes a business. And then you got like Marquez and those types, which are running like different businesses. It's like we're doing like almost what you would call like traditional media. Like I'm tech media, right? Where I'm doing reviews and I'm getting sponsors and there's advertising and there's collab deals and making merchandise, and those are businesses. And I think there's less of that. I don't want to say opportunity, but there's less of that movement for folks like you and me who are like, yeah, I'm just doing this one because I like this information. I want to help other people. And by the way, come buy from me, right? Like come buy from me. And the WordPress space, we are all so damn like we're in this WordPress bubble. And just the other day, like a freelance writer who writes for me, who has been writing for me, and she wrote a piece about WordPress in the enterprise. And I said this in the last episode, I am unapologetically being a cheerleader for WordPress, whether you can tell on my face or not, or like with what I put on social. Like I am shifting the content of the WP Minute to help people understand what is possible with WordPress. And a part of that is making like real soft content that says WordPress in the enterprise is XYZ. So anyway, I had to write up a piece, and I had somebody like DM me, and I don't know if he's watching, but like, I guess sort of like file a complaint. Like this is not helpful content to WordPress in the enterprise. This doesn't cover XYZ. This does not link to like reports and education, like all this other stuff. And they had one valid criticism, to which I went back and left a note in the blog post, about supply chain, and like, here's automatic, link to the lawsuit just to like inform people. But the idea is like, in WordPress, and we talked about this in the last episode, people are just never freaking happy. With the content. You talk too much about business. Oh, you talk too much about AI. Oh, you talk too much about development. Oh, you didn't cover enterprise the right way. Oh, if I was covering the community, I'd be mentioning like this obscure thing, that 2 people care about. And it's just like, yo, people, this does not make a business. And, that's in the WordPress space. It is really hard. I don't know how many ways to say it. Like when you're making content, like I want to be liberated, right? To make content in WordPress and also have it make money for me. And for the gazillionth time, it's in tutorials. That's the only piece of content that moves the needle for anyone in the WordPress space, because nobody gives a shit about the WordPress community like we do, right? So yeah, man, like I think people just get wrapped up, especially in the WordPress side, of like niche content. And my God, doesn't this make you tons of money? Like when you look at it from the outside? No, it doesn't, right? So yeah, like I am 100% behind you on your strategy of approach of content and siloing the content.
Never been happier to hear anything else. That's amazing. I thought for sure you were going to criticize the fuck out of me for this. No, that's great.
No.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, time is money, effort, right? All this other stuff. You have to do the things that, move the needle, or it's all pointless. It's all pointless. When is the new site launched? Did you launch the site? What's the domain again?
Motive11.com. Sick name. Sick actual domain. LLC is being changed right now.
Rebranding in process.
Rebranding in process.
You're changing the LLC, not filing a new LLC.
Correct.
It sounds like it's more painful to like change the LLC rather than just let that one just die and not. Where did you get that advice? ChatGPT, your accountant?
I'm actually a business consultant. You laugh, but I've set up 6 of these.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite. How
much is it to file? Let me ask you this question: do you file in like North Dakota, or is Pennsylvania fairly affordable?
I've never done any of that. I just do Pennsylvania. Yeah.
How much is it on moving per year?
There is no per year price.
There's got to be some filing fee.
No. It's technically, now there's a thing. It used to be $70 every 10 years, but now it's $7 a year.
Well, why don't people? Oh, because of the laws and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. Well, they've changed some things, so now you have to like just re-up your filing, basically, just so they know that you still exist and whatever. But yeah, it was like $70 to update the name, which is basically an amendment. Like you could have done a bunch of other things to it, so you just amend the name. And then I thought of it like this: I've had this LLC. I don't want to create a new one because it's like a new entity, all this other stuff. I don't know if this is exactly right, but logic makes sense. So let me just change the name of this one, which I've also changed the name of a different LLC before because I named an LLC my name. Don't ever do that. So I've already gone through this before, but I changed the name from Find a Tech to Motive 11. That should be coming here soon. I should get a new piece of paper that says, hey, your name's changed, is the new thing, whatever. And then you just send literally the most ridiculous, like, letter to the IRS telling them like, hey, yeah, this name has changed. Just update it on the EIN. It's so obnoxious. There's no online thing. It's just kind of hilarious. But yeah, that was one option. People were saying like DBA as well, but then legally you have to say like Find a Tech DBA Motive 11, and I don't want Find a Tech anywhere anymore. So that's what I do is I just change the name and there we go. So yeah,
state of Massachusetts, $500 a year.
What? Getting ripped off, dude.
Yeah, that's why they call it Taxachusetts. The first filing might be 500. I know the first filing is definitely 500 for annual LLC.
I want to say it's like 120 in Pennsylvania for the first one, maybe or something.
Let's take to our friend ChatGPT and see which is. Let's see, 520 if filed online. Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
They give you anything with that or no?
Yeah, more taxes. And I mean, and the only reason why, I did it, not that this is legal advice or tax advice, but it's really only because I was just like, well, if I ever wanted to apply for, there's like a lot of like local creator grants that come up every now and again from these like local organizations where I missed a few opportunities like early on in the podcasting career, where it was just like, I never really formed an LLC. It was just, I was making just this is after the agency, where it wasn't like a legit business and everything was just passed through to my, to my social in terms of income. But, yeah, there was like some creator grants, but you actually had to be a registered business. You couldn't be a thing. So the solo.
I've always like been like, I want this to be an LLC and just like fully do that. Even from the very beginning with all my stuff, I always wanted the separation, even legally. Yeah. But like, I just meant just in general, like this is established. This is what I do. I did it overkill. I did it for stuff that shouldn't even been its own business. But you, my friend, need to go down to the bay and like throw some tea in the harbor or something. You gotta stir something up there. That is 512, 520.
Yes.
That's obnoxious.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely obnoxious. Let's wrap it up with a little tech talk. Speaking of tech, I am now filming and recording on I didn't want to buy another device. I always feel like one day I'm going to get back into my studio. I have all these plans to like redo the official studio that I have. But I just find working in my basement office more convenient for me, because even that short 15-minute commute and being able to just like do things right here is better. And Mark has always complained about the webcam situation that I have, where it was just, this is Sony A7 IV, and I was just using the USB-C connector, which went directly to the back of the, not MacBook, the MacBook or Mac Mini. And I didn't have my Thunderbolt connection here, so it was always 720.
Yikes.
It's 1080. I can up it to 4K, but I replaced my beloved Audio Sigma device, which was really powering just the audio, and this thing is absolutely fantastic. I've done a review on this on the podcast setup before. It's super mobile. The audio, the amp, the features are amazing. Now I'm on the Rode X. I have a Rodecaster Pro at the studio, which is like, the size of my desk. And I don't need it. It was one of those stupid impulse purchases. The Rode X is a fine device. And I wonder if I can I do this with Riverside? Last time we did this, we broke things. No, I can't.
And he's gone.
Yeah, I can't switch to my iPhone camera, but it does. I hate the Elgato device, and I'll tell you why. Elgato device goes, A7 IV has full HDMI. You have an A7 IV, right?
Indeed.
And you had before that an A6000 or something.
ZV1
or ZV1, and that uses what, micro HDMI, little micro port, and then it plugged into HDMI. And those little Elgato, I've had two of those, and they always like overheat after a while, or at least that's what I found. Where like I would just drop signal. The Elgato, I've seen other people do it, and it's just like freaking annoying. I don't know. I haven't done a long-term test. This is probably the longest term test we've done right now at the 50-minute mark. So the Rode X is a single XLR, which this microphone goes into, and then it intakes the HDMI from the camera, and then it's just one Thunderbolt USB-C into the back of my Mac Mini, and the Mac Mini's powering it. So it comes with obviously a power cord, but I don't even have to plug the power cord in. If the wattage coming out of the Mac Mini is enough to power it. And it's got 4 pads on it, so I can do things like the sound effects and transitions and stuff. I can actually mute and shut off the camera with the press of a button, which is really nice. So if all of a sudden I need to sneeze or something like that, or somebody walks in, I can just mute the video, which is a nice touch. And it comes with the Rode software. $250 so far, so good, and a small footprint. Not probably like the size. Let me just see. About 2 of these Audio Sigmas side by side. So far, so good. I'll have a review up on thepodcastsetup.com, which will come soon.
I need a button.
Yeah, happy with this so far. Any new tech in your life?
I mean, this camera, I got a comment from some people about my image quality is literally, I'm not making this up. They said it's the best on YouTube. That's definitely not true, but
Yeah,
ultra
anyone else.
HD. I mean, it's pretty good. It's not bad. We've got a lot of good lighting in here. I've controlled the lighting extremely well, and this lens with this camera is a huge upgrade from what I had before. So I'm super stoked. I never had that issue with the Camlink 4K. I did have some issues back when I had mini HDMI to full HDMI, and I specifically when I was using the extender, you know what I'm talking about, like where you plug the cam link into something and then because it can't like fit in the slot. I think that piece kind of causes some issues sometimes. It might like kind of wiggle out of there, and then I think maybe my micro HDMI cable went bad like once, so I did have some issues there. Knock on wood, no problems so far with this setup, which I've been very happy about. I'm looking forward. My next thing that I'm looking forward to is the Logitech MX Master 4, long awaited, because I have the 3, and I think it's coming out either the end of this month, which we are at, or in October. Other than that, I got a lot of cool tech stuff, but nothing super recent other than my cool phone, because I'm a free thinker. I got the G, and I need some wireless chargers for that, because now we have the little magnets on the back. It's called Pixel Snap.
Yeah, I mean, I would switch to probably a Pixel, but green bubbles and AirDrop.
Great. See you later.
And AirDrop and a lot of like the Find My stuff are like really cool features that I use.
Find
often.
My device. Green bubbles is just a killer. You got to get over that. And if you've ever heard of Pair Drop, PAIR drop, it's the same thing.
But does it work with Mac effortlessly?
I think it works with everything. It's like a website, and I don't use it heavily, but
listen, I agree. Like this last update, as we wrap up the show here, this last update to iOS, the worst update I've ever had.
Worst.
Like the UI. I have the beta updates on my iPad, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. It's the iPad. When I saw the UI updates come in like months ago, I was like, okay, it's okay. But then when I got it down to my phone, I was like, this sucks. This glass thing is terrible, because like every element, every button is so much, it has a feeling of being so much bigger, because like there's like this glass effect or whatever the hell they call it on like every button. And I'm like, this is ugly. And there's like new animations in iMessage, speaking of why it's one of the advantages here, and it just makes everything slower because it has to like animate. And this is a freaking iPhone 15 Pro. Like, how much horsepower is in this compared to like a computer? It's just like, it shouldn't be lagging with UI things. It's a joke. So I'm not that far away from going back to Android.
Attaboy. Honestly, though, for you, if you have everything Apple, like there's a real reason to stick with Apple. Like if you go full in on the ecosystem, but if you don't have anything Apple, you can. That's just the one thing. I will end on that. Or a last thought on that for me is like I can make my system Apple-like from the ecosystem way, because everything can connect. We're in 2025. A lot of things can connect with one another. It's not that big of a deal. But I do see a reason that so many people have Apple devices, because the interconnectivity and everything like that is really cool. So you guys are onto something there.
Motive11.com, MOTIVE11.com. As soon as he gets his LLC sign in the back alley of the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium for $7 and a hot dog, his company will be rebranded.
Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers is signing it for me right now. He's getting it all squared away.
TheWPMinute.com, TheWPMinute.com/subscribe, the #1 way to stay connected. See you in the next episode.